The Young and the Restless spoilers. The coming days in Genoa City promise to be nothing short of explosive, as whispers of an unexpected engagement between Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman begin to ripple through town. According to the latest rumblings, Kyle is preparing to take a monumental step forward by proposing to Claire during the week of September 1st to 5th, a move that has the potential to reshape not only their personal lives, but also the balance of power among the Abbotts and the Newmans. Fans have watched the connection between Kyle and Claire deepen over recent months, transforming from an alliance of circumstance into something that seems, at least on the surface, like genuine love. Yet the question remains, is this the kind of love that can withstand the scrutiny of family legacies, former romances, and the inevitable storm of betrayal that always lurks beneath the polished veneer of Genoa City's elite? For now, insiders suggest Claire may indeed accept Kyle's ring, ready to embark on the whirlwind journey of planning the wedding of her dreams. But those who know the rhythm of soap opera storytelling understand that a wedding in Genoa City is never simply about two people in love. It is a stage for rivalries, sabotage, and revelations that can undo carefully constructed facades in an instant. The idea of Kyle and Claire racing toward marriage sends shockwaves across both families, not only because of the speed of their romance, but also because of the lingering ghost of Summer Newman, Kyle's former wife. The absence of Summer has been a gaping wound in Kyle's life, though he has tried to conceal it under layers of determination, fatherhood, and business obligations. Summer's sudden departure for Milan, where she threw herself into Marchetti's recruitment efforts, left unanswered questions and unresolved emotions behind. While her exit appeared abrupt and final, there has always been a sense that the door remained ajar for her return. That lingering possibility casts a long shadow over Kyle's proposal to Claire, raising the suspicion that this engagement may be less about love's natural progression and more about a man seeking stability in the face of loss, loneliness, and the desire to fill a void that no one but Summer can truly occupy. Genoa City, a place where personal and professional lives intertwine in endless, messy knots, thrives on the chaos of sudden weddings. The timeline of such unions often bends to the dramatic needs of the moment. One week, a couple is exchanging rings in haste under the glow of passion and rebellion. Another week, a wedding drags on indefinitely, its plans perpetually derailed by family objections, corporate power struggles, or shocking confessions delivered at the altar. Thus, even as Kyle and Claire imagine an idyllic ceremony, there is every reason to doubt that the path to matrimony will run smoothly. The suggestion that the so-called Kyle wedding may simply be a smokescreen to stir up drama only strengthens the suspicion that Genoa City has not seen the last of Summer. Her return, whether triumphant or tortured, could easily shatter the fragile engagement before it even takes root, setting the stage for a love triangle brimming with passion, jealousy, and the undeniable weight of history. Summer's role in the unfolding narrative cannot be underestimated. Since leaving Genoa City, she has remained a constant presence in conversations and in the hearts of those who care for her. Nick Newman, her father, has struggled with the absence of his daughter, while Phyllis Summers, never one to shy away from meddling, has made her longing for Summer's presence abundantly clear. Kyle himself, despite his efforts to commit to Claire, has spoken often of Summer, as though her name hovers on his lips like an unfinished sentence. Even young Harrison Abbott, caught in the middle of these tangled adult relationships, has reportedly spent time visiting his mother, further entrenching her place in Kyle's daily thoughts. The question is not whether Summer is still a part of Kyle's life shifts, but how her eventual return will collide with his attempt to move forward with Claire. The emotional stakes of such a collision are immense. On one side stands Claire, a woman eager to secure her place not only in Kyle's heart, but also within the intricate fabric of Genoa City's most powerful families. For her, an engagement to Kyle offers the promise of legitimacy, love, and influence. Yet beneath her poised exterior lies the reality that her bond with Kyle is still fresh, still fragile, and perhaps not strong enough to withstand the return of a woman who has known Kyle far longer, more deeply, and more passionately than she has. On the other side stands Summer, the woman whose history with Kyle is woven into the DNA of Genoa City itself, whose departure may have been temporary, and whose return could ignite unresolved feelings like embers catching flame. The dramatic irony of this setup is quintessential white-andar. Kyle, in his attempt to forge stability, may be setting himself up for heartbreak. His decision to propose to Claire could be read as an act of genuine devotion, but equally, it could be seen as a desperate attempt to prove to himself and others that he has moved on. Yet moving on in Genoa City is rarely so simple. The ghosts of past loves haunt every corner, and destiny has a way of pulling former couples back together when they least expect it. If Summer returns and all signs suggest she will, Kyle's engagement will instantly transform from a hopeful beginning into a dangerous battleground where past and present collide. The return of Summer Newman also has implications far beyond her romance with Kyle. Her presence could reignite rivalries between the Newmans and the Abbotts, especially if her re-entry into Genoa City stirs corporate intrigue at Marchetti or Newman Enterprises. The mere possibility of Summer aligning herself differently in business could alter the delicate balance of power among Genoa City's elite. Furthermore, Phyllis Summers, notorious for her manipulations and fiery temper, would undoubtedly seize on the opportunity to champion her daughter's place by Kyle's side, potentially launching schemes that could derail Claire's future before it even begins. And Nick Newman, ever the protective father, would not stand idly by if he believed Claire was an obstacle to Summer's happiness or stability. In this sense, the personal becomes political, and the proposal that should mark a new chapter in Kyle and Claire's love story instead opens the floodgates to renewed battles between two of Genoa City's most influential dynasties. Even more fascinating is how Harrison fits into this equation. As Kyle's young son, he has already been through more upheaval than most children his age should endure. His visits with Summer, his bond with Kyle, and the looming presence of Claire in his life create a volatile emotional mix. If Summer returns just as Kyle cements his engagement to Claire, Harrison may become the unintentional fulcrum on which the entire storyline pivots. Children in Genoa City often bear witness to the greatest scandals, sometimes innocently speaking truths that adults work hard to bury. Harrison's perspective, torn between his love for his parents and his burgeoning relationship with Claire, could add an additional layer of tension to an already combustible situation. The stakes could not be higher, and the pacing of this storyline suggests that fans should prepare for fireworks in September. Will Kyle and Claire truly make it to the altar? Or will Summer's return demolish their dreams before they can take root? Will Claire, determined to claim her place, fight back with schemes of her own, perhaps unveiling a darker, more manipulative side than Kyle ever expected? Will Summer's reappearance reignite not only Kyle's heart, but also the volatile feud between the Abbotts and Newmans, plunging Genoa City back into the chaos of divided loyalties and fractured families? These questions linger like storm clouds over what should have been a celebration of love, reminding everyone that in this world, no wedding is safe from sabotage, no love is immune to betrayal, and no future is guaranteed. In the end, what makes this storyline so compelling is not simply the romance of Kyle and Claire or the looming shadow of Summer's return, but the way it encapsulates the timeless themes of the young and the restless, the constant struggle between past and present, the seductive pull of love and loyalty, and the way family legacies shape the choices of each new generation. Whether Kyle's proposal is the beginning of a new dynasty or the spark that ignites a fresh cycle of heartbreak, one thing is certain: Genoa City is bracing itself for a season of high drama, shocking returns, and the kind of unforgettable storytelling that has kept audiences hooked for decades. The Young and the Restless has always thrived on the art of timing when to let a character vanish into the distance, when to whisper their name just often enough to keep the audience guessing, and when to pull them back into Genoa City at precisely the moment when their return will create maximum upheaval. For months now, the writers have been carefully, almost mischievously, planting breadcrumbs for fans about the absence of Summer Newman, and those breadcrumbs are beginning to form a trail too obvious to ignore. Though her face has been missing from the canvas, her name remains alive, woven into conversations and storylines like an invisible thread tying past to present. It is the clearest signal yet that a return is inevitable, And it is only a matter of when, not if, Summer will step once more into the chaos she left behind. In recent weeks, the show has gone beyond casual references and given fans scenes that highlight her absence in ways that feel like setup rather than mere nostalgia. One particularly intriguing moment occurred when her parents, Phyllis Summers and Nick Newman, sat down to discuss the reasons why Summer had not yet returned home to Genoa City. The scene, brief yet loaded with implication, offered not only insight into her current state of mind, but also fuel for speculation about her eventual comeback. Nick, always the steady and protective father, seemed resigned to the idea that his daughter had chosen to prioritize her work and personal life in Milan. But Phyllis, fiery and outspoken as ever, bristled at the idea that Summer could be truly content while her former life continued without her. The conversation danced around the obvious truth. Summer's absence is no longer simply about distance. It is about avoidance. Rumors within Genoa City suggest that Summer may have found herself distracted by the charms of a new boyfriend, a dashing designer who has turned her head while she continues her work at Marchetti. This possibility is tantalizing, especially since it would align with the glamorous, jet-setting lifestyle Summer has built for herself in Italy. A romance abroad would certainly explain her reluctance to return, and it fits neatly into the tradition of soap operas using off-screen relationships to justify a character's prolonged disappearance. But for those who know Summer best, and for fans who have watched her navigate years of heartbreak, betrayal, and resilience, the suggestion of a nil love interest feels too shallow to be the whole story. There must be something deeper at play, something personal, emotional, and painful enough to keep her away from the people and places she has always called home. That deeper reason, hinted at in the conversations between Phyllis and Nick, appears to be her unwillingness to witness Kyle Abbott's burgeoning romance with Claire Newman. To see her former husband, the man she once believed to be her true partner in love and in life, moving forward with another woman, and not just any woman but her cousin, would be unbearable. Summer has always been a character of fierce passion, someone who loves with her whole heart and fights with her whole being when those she cares about are threatened. The thought of her sitting idly by, watching Kyle prepare to marry Claire, is inconceivable. Her absence begins to make sense not as cowardice, but as self-preservation. By staying away, she shields herself from the heartbreak of watching her old life be rewritten without her. Yet soap opera history tells us that avoidance is never a permanent solution. Sooner or later, absence becomes action, and silence becomes confrontation. The looming question is not whether Summer will return, but what she will do when she learns that Kyle intends to marry Claire. The scenario is ripe for dramatic conflict. The woman who walked away must come back to find that her place has been usurped not by a stranger, but by family, and not in some distant future, but in the immediate reality of wedding plans. For Summer, the thought of her cousin stepping into the role she once occupied as Kyle's wife, as Harrison's stepmother, as part of the Abbott family may prove intolerable. Her fiery spirit and complicated legacy suggest that if she comes back, it will not be to offer blessings, but to wage a battle. Would Summer actually go so far as to try and stop the wedding? If history is any guide, the answer is yes. This is a woman who has made bold choices, who has put her heart on the line, and who has never shied away from dramatic gestures when love and family are involved. To burst into Genoa City, to make her presence known at the precise moment when Kyle and Claire's future hangs in the balance, would be quintessential Summer. It would not only shake Kyle to his core, but also ignite tensions across the Newman and Abbott families, reigniting rivalries and testing loyalties in ways that could reverberate for months. The uncertainty surrounding Summer's return is compounded by the question of who will play her when she does. Alison Lanier has embodied the role in recent years, bringing her own blend of charm, vulnerability, and strength to a character who has grown up under the weight of her family's legacy. But in the world of daytime television, recasts are always a possibility, and rumors have already begun swirling that if the show is preparing for a major summer-centric storyline, it may be the perfect moment to refresh the role. Would fans embrace a new face stepping into Summer's shoes just as the character takes center stage again? Or would they demand continuity, trusting Lanier to carry the character through the next storm? Either path holds potential, but both come with risks, and the decision will be closely watched by a fan base deeply invested in Summer's journey. What makes this looming return so compelling is the way it ties together so many threads of Genoa City's current narrative. Kyle, caught between loyalty, love, and a desire to move on, is about to make a decision that could define the rest of his life. Claire, standing on the precipice of marriage, must reckon with the possibility that her cousin could sweep in and undo everything she has fought to build. Phyllis, ever the schemer, would no doubt rally behind her daughter, ready to burn bridges and manipulate situations if it meant restoring Summer to her rightful place. And Nick, steady but protective, would find himself once again navigating the delicate balance between supporting his daughter's independence and shielding her from heartbreak. Add to this the ripple effects on Harrison, Victor, Diane, and the broader Newman-Abbott rivalry, and the stage is set for a storyline that could dominate the canvas for months to come. In truth, the absence of Summer has never felt like an ending. It has felt like an ellipsis, a pause in a sentence waiting to be completed. The writers have been too deliberate in their mentions, too careful in keeping her presence alive, for this to be anything other than set up. Genoa City thrives on returns, on the shock of a familiar face walking back into the Grand Phoenix, or stepping into society, or showing up at a wedding uninvited. Summer's return, whenever it happens, will not be quiet. It will be loud, disruptive, and unforgettable. And when it does, fans can expect the kind of drama that The Young and the Restless does best. Love triangles laced with betrayal, family ties stretched to the breaking point, and choices that will echo through generations. The only certainty is that Summer Newman's story is far from over. Whether Allison Lanier continues in the role or a new actress steps in, the character is poised to reclaim her place at the center of Genoa City's drama. And when she does, the question will not simply be whether she can win Kyle back, but whether her return will unravel everything Claire, Kyle, and their families have tried to build in her absence. For fans, the anticipation is electric, the possibilities endless, and the drama inevitable. Genoa City is bracing itself because when Summer comes home, nothing will ever be the same.